On this episode of Behind the Sanctuary, we're going to be mixing our two lions, Kasanga and Imara. Okay, we're just getting ready to mix Kasanga and Imara for the very first time ever. These guys have been living next door to each other for quite a few months now, so they know each other well, but they've never been actually sharing the same space before. It is quite a tense situation because obviously these guys are dangerous animals and they could do harm to each other if the mixing doesn't go well. What isn't making it easier is that actually Imara knows that something slightly unusual is going on and she's already getting a little bit nervous and a bit kind of tense herself. So what I'm really keen to do is start off with just allowing her some time to calm down, trying to make the situation as calm as possible before we then start opening the gate. So we're going to go into the house now, see what kind of mood they're in, and we're going to try and start mixing. I'm absolutely over the moon with how that went. It didn't go how I expected it to go necessarily. I'm not sure I knew what I expected, but for a long period they ignored each other and pretended it wasn't happening. I only opened the gate slightly so that, you know, I could shut it more quickly if I needed to. So it was quite a subtle opening. And eventually Imara came over to me to tell me off for existing, then noticed that the gate was slightly open and she actually shot through to try and hide near Kasanga, which I think probably suggests that she was just uncomfortable with the situation as a whole because she didn't know what was going on, but actually she was quite comfortable going to him comparative to everything else, which is actually really encouraging. He looked very surprised. He didn't look like he knew what on earth was happening to him, but he handled it very well. He was very calm, lots of sniffing, lots of the phlegm in response, so he was really getting a good whiff of her, so that will be good for a bit of bonding as well. And then again, she was still just slightly uneasy with the whole situation and she came back through to her side and we decided to call it quits there. So they weren't really together for very long, but let's start small and work our way up and hopefully we'll see that they're calmer every time that we do it and then we can leave them together for longer. So that mixing was a little bit more eventful. Lovely thing to see was that Kasanga came straight. He saw that the slider was opening and he came straight through, so he was quite keen for it, which is brilliant. Again, very gentle, especially on his side. Imara's still a little uncomfortable with the situation as a whole, and I'd like to see that start to reduce now. And we're going to try and manage it slightly different from now on, but she was very good with him. What we did see was that she did give him a little warning shot at one point and sort of swiped at him just to tell him that she didn't like what he was doing at the time, but that's totally fine. That's communication. She wasn't trying to hurt him, she was trying to just say, back off, I don't like you there, and he completely backed off. So she's communicating, he's listening, and that's exactly what we want to see. So that was brilliant. They were just over 20 minutes together. So first session was only about 30 seconds. Yesterday was 10 minutes, and now we've doubled that. So that's excellent. Lots of calm behaviour. Imara was much calmer than she has been in the previous mixings, and I think a lot to do with that is because actually I wasn't in the house this time. So I think I was part of the problem because I bring the vet, so I'm not very popular in Imara's mind. So what I did this time is have one of the other keepers that she sees more regularly and that feeds her and does lots of nice things for her. He was on the slider in the house and I was watching from outside, so I just took myself out of the way. And she was a lot calmer. Going over to him at some points, just slightly, and then he also at some points was coming over to try and interact with her, but lots of calm, just lying next to each other and things like that as well. So yeah, a good third session. So far, the mixing has gone incredibly well. I'm very happy to see the progress that has been made with these two guys. Kasanga is definitely a little bit nervous of Imara, but he does have a bit of a history of that, having been mixed in the past. So that's not necessarily a surprise. She's being very good, but is maybe turning a little bit bratty because she can at some points, but they're figuring it out between them. And if he wants to stand up for himself, he does. And if she wants to stand up for herself, she does. They're both listening to each other, so that's all great. Generally, we've been having them, it's been 2 weeks now, and we've been having them together for just over an hour and a half-ish, most days. We've seen them choosing to spend a lot of time in the same den. Not very often going into separate dens and spending long periods in separate dens during the mixing. So that's all really positive. I'm really happy with it. And the next thing to do is introduce them to the outside enclosure where, as keepers, we have less control if something goes wrong, but they have more space and it's more naturally what they will be in once they're fully integrated. Day one mixing outside has gone very well. There maybe wasn't as much interaction as I expected. So as soon as we let him out into the outside enclosure where Imara was, she came down from the rocks and went trotting straight over to him. So she was quite keen, but he was not sure what to do with that at all. And he went running away and it turned into a bit of a chase, which he kind of had to, you know, snap himself out of. But they sorted all of that out themselves. That's all fine. Then for the rest of it, really, they spent most of their time completely apart in different parts of the enclosure. But that being said, no aggression, you know, just one tiny little telling off in the middle. And other than that, actually, that's totally fine. I'll definitely take that. And then a lot of time spent apart. But again, that's not negative. This is the first time. They were together for 4 hours in a very kind of amicable way. That's that's all great. I'm happy with how it's gone. So day 2, a little bit of progress already, which is great. Again, she came trotting straight over to see him again. She's really keen. She really wants to sort of get to know him, maybe coming on a little bit too strong for his liking at the moment. But that's sweet. It's all, you know, it's good to see some really nice positive behaviour from her, and she's very relaxed. And we're spending hours with them together now, you know, rather than just an hour a day or, you know, any less than that. So really good constructive time together. They even came and laid on the same platform for a short period, but yeah, he's not entirely comfortable yet, but so far, you know, so far so good. It's already progression from yesterday. Okay, so day 3, a lot more action today, partly maybe because of the rain that we had. So we're seeing some behaviour changes in them now. I think Imara is learning that he doesn't like it when she comes on as strongly as she has been, so she's been learning to maybe be a little bit more gentle with him, a little bit less keen, and he a little bit has kind of been sticking up for himself a little bit more, not running away quite so much. You know, he'll sort of turn and face her, or if he doesn't like what she's doing, then he'll kind of just give her a bit of a grumble, and she'll instantly submit as well. So that's what you want, is the communication. You know, if somebody's saying they don't like something, you've got a problem if the other one isn't listening, but if they are, then that's just good communication and they're going to work it out. So we're going to keep mixing them. At the moment, we've only mixed them in the larger half of the outside enclosure, but what we eventually want to work up to is longer hours together, time where they won't be supervised all the time. We're going to leave them to it, and we'll just come and drop in on them and see how they're doing and making sure everything's okay. And then also giving access to the whole of the enclosure, which is ultimately how they'll be living eventually when they're fully integrated.